Welcome to the channel. Building overseas doesn't have to be a nightmare. My goal is to help you make that dream a reality. Expect weekly tips on the process of building that dream home and the lifestyle it brings. So check out my videos, subscribe, and share. Thank you.
Hello, Saturday. Took a little break off last week. Sometimes it's needed. So glad you guys can join me today. And we are going to discuss a few things. So check in, let me know where you are watching from, and then you can put some questions in. Today's topic pretty much is going to be on, I think there's a diversion of views, building in Africa or building in Ghana. Some people are saying it's cheap. Some people say it's expensive. So people have been let know what it is. What should what is is it cheap? Is it expensive to build? And so I'm gonna take a crack at it, and then because I'm in the space, so I think that my voice has managed to some extent. I'm in the space, so kind of have an idea what is going on. Okay. So I'm gonna break it down. I think sometimes for most of us, um, even when you buy a house, it's different than when you are building a house, right? When you buy a house, pretty much everything is in there. You get to make some modifications, and then you bring your furniture and that kind of stuff in there. But building, basically, you have to think about everything from the ground, right? So we're gonna look at that. And so my goal is to break it down, tell you some of the cost, the various steps you are going to have to deal with. Not all of them, because I think it's fair for those who have bought the construction building guide. There you can find the sequence of process. So I missed the sequence in here a little bit because if you want to follow the sequence from when you get a land all the way to when you move in, you can get it on our website, and I'll post the website as we get into it. Anyway, okay, so let's dive into it. Don't want to keep this thing long. So this is my attempt to address whether it's building in Ghana or Africa is cheap or not cheap. That is my attempt to add my 2 cents in it. Okay. So think about it this way: those who have done this or those who are doing this already tell you, okay, first thing, what are you gonna do? You need a land, right? You can build in the air right now. So you need some kind of land. And the question becomes the land. Is it cheaper? Well, what is it? In the city, city is much more expensive. It can be 10x or 15x more than what you get in a rural area, right? So you need a land. You're gonna be on the beach, lakefront, whatever. City lands are much more expensive. So if you're in the rural areas, then it will be cheap for you. So that's one. So that's one aspect. Another thing we have to factor in there is shout out to Jojo. I see more people watching. Please check and let me know who's there. So the next one we tackle is you get a land, right? You get a price and everything. Then you get the land documentation, site plan, indenture, and all that stuff. Then you need to go and register that, right? Accra is the most expensive with the most headache, right? So that is that cheap? Not necessarily, right? So factor in also the emotional cost too, emotional cost, right? So you pay more in the city, right? And then before you even pick the land, think about you are paying for a site plan, right? Something to do, the surveyor work, and then they got to prepare the document, and that kind of stuff. So to be able to transfer into your name. Now then you go to what? Third one, let's do this, right? So we did talk about land acquisition, talk about the land document registration. Then you talk about architectural blueprint, right? So you need to have some kind of architect, right? And depending on how elaborate the plan is. So what I'm trying to tell you is that people don't really give you the cost of actually what goes into the building, because I think people are looking at the material and stuff. No, there's about 10 to 15% of things that are unrelated to the construction itself that you're paying for, right? Including the blueprint, the land documentation process, and paying things like the land guard issue and all kinds of stuff, and that is not related, right? To the material aspect. So then you get to the architectural stuff, right? And so you need architect, blueprint depending on where you are based. Sometimes you buy the plan, they go to Ghana, and say they want Ghana code. That's another thing. So you pay more to convert it. So is that cheap? So it's adding up, right? So we get in there. Then after that, you got to go get your what? The building permit, right? So you work in a building permit. Accra, you pay more. It's much more messy over there too. It takes longer to get them. So you're going through a building permit. So when they're gonna value the property and all that stuff, and also when you're doing the land registration too, they're also doing value assessment of the land, and depending on what area you're paying stamp duty and all the cost that goes in there. Then another one, you go find a builder, right? Let me give a few shout outs to Sharikoko. Long time. I hope you are doing well. Jojo B, thank you for tuning in. Evie, appreciate you with all the work. Hajia, good to see you. Okay. So now you find a builder, which I think Kiki, thanks. Finding the builder, which I think is the most important thing, because that is going to make or break a lot of things for you. So then there's nothing called cheap quality build. It doesn't exist. Cheap quality build does not exist anywhere. And so if you are going to get quality, you are going to pay for, unless you start dating the builder or something like that. You got some arrangement, that's your thing. But if you are going to pay somebody to deliver, then for quality, you are going to pay, you are going to pay more. Okay. Now, type of style, bungalow. So you're gonna do a bungalow, yes, instead of relatively it's going to be, a little bit cheaper than doing a 1 story, 2 story, that kind of stuff. Or multiple units for apartment rental and stuff like that. So that also means the cost for quality. If you want to do some cheaper stuff and stuff like that, then whatever. But it's not the same. Okay. So hopefully when you start getting to this 1 or 2 stories and multi, you want a team who can deliver. That means it's going to cost you, because you want engineers and all kinds of stuff in there. Structural integrity becomes even more important, right? So that is not cheap. That is expensive. Location of the build, right? So location, the city Accra is going to cost you more, right? So it's going to cost you more to be in Accra. Then Kumasi will be second, relative. You can go to some places like, way in the north, or way somewhere in the Volta region, and somewhere in the eastern region that's going to be a little bit, cheaper. But Accra is you paying premium for the same square footage and all that stuff. It is what it is, right? So you can say I can go to rural area and get a little bit cheaper. Okay, fair point. But in the city, you're gonna pay more, right? Um, this one is important. Site preparation. Okay, site preparation is very, very important. I've seen the video some of you have sent to me. So site preparation is very important. Are you building in sandy, in the sandy area, clay, a mixture, waterlogged, um, slope on a mountain, underneath the mountain, side of the mountain? You know, there's a lot of preparation that must go into it by the right team to look at it. So, and make adjustment based on the soil composition, in which sometimes you have a multiple composition on the same. Maybe you go 2 feet, there's a whole different type of soil. You go underneath that, there might be rocks and something like that, or even half of the flat plot is split. You have one side which is clay, the other side is that. So it is not for everybody. If you bring the right team, and I can tell you that they are very I'm yet to see. I've probably seen one or two videos on YouTube that I think have done the foundation really, 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 really super well with what it is challenges they've seen. People are just building like the way they are building. It doesn't matter if they're building in the clay, they're building in the sand, they're building in a rocky, composition. They're just doing the same thing. It's not the same thing, right? So using the right team is the best. Proper foundation work. There's something called proper foundation work. And so it's very, very important. Your foundation is critical. It's probably the most important aspect in decking of the whole building because those are the two things that can collapse the building: improper foundation and improper decking. Those things will collapse a building or weaken a building over time. And it's not for everybody. Okay, it's not about just putting iron rods over them, pouring cement and concrete. And so, and you have to deal with the soil. So it is science. There's science to this stuff, right? There's science to this stuff. Okay. And so it's going to cost, if you're doing the right way, it is going to cost money, right? Okay. If you want something that you find some mason around the corner to just put some cement blocks and stuff, they can do that for you. But guess what? They don't have to live in there. You would. And so you will pay for what you get. So um, the truth of the matter is that unless very few people have the money, but I mean money, $500,000, $1 million to come and put in the project. So chances are, certain point when you building, you can't go tier one quality for everything unless you got money like that. That's gonna put you $700,000 of thousands of dollars to be to have tier one of everything. There will be some times that you may have to say, okay, tier one, even tier three, depending on what it is, may do. That's fine. But these are not in the structure area. These are not in your foundation, your decking, your electrical, your roof. There's certain things you are not going to be cutting corners, and those will be very, very expensive. Uh, you know, if it doesn't go well. Then you start at work, right? You build to the block work, start block work, build to Lintel level, right? So there's a cost to it, depending on the size, the layout, location, all that stuff. There's a size. The building a village somewhere is going to be cheaper, but the question is, are you going to get the same expertise and the quality? Is debatable. Okay, because the best people tend to go into the city and work in because that's where they can make the most money. So it's a trade. I repeat, there's nothing called uh, cheap build quality, right? There's nothing called like that. Then you do your decking, flooring, for multiple levels, whatever stuff. That is also another science to that, because we have even like the way we are doing our stuff is we are even throwing away the Ghana building code and stuff like that. We have actually pumped it another level. So the minimum requirement for certain iron rods, we just go in the next level of iron rods and stuff like that because you rather over engineer the house than to do the bare minimum. So that is something standard that we are doing. So if we are doing your foundation, we actually making sure there's high tensile steel rebars, and also the next level is 12, we're using 14. Okay, and depending on the units, how many levels, we might do 18, we might do 20, we might do 22, and all that stuff. And then the beam size. So all these things are very, very, very important. And the one things that I don't do, I haven't done on my channel yet, which when I on my next trip I'll do, is the discussions I have with my engineer when we sit down there and we're trying to figure some things out of, okay, we have this open concept, and so but how are we not going to negate structure integrity in the discussion. Sometimes it takes about hours to do a series of calculations and figure it out. Okay, and sometimes guess what, it may require that we need to put a pillar in there for stuff like that, and then we strategically put a pillar in a place that it doesn't take away from the design and becomes like a kind of like an eyesore kind of stuff. Okay, so I start doing that, so you know that there's a series of discussion. Then you're gonna do painting. Paintings are expensive, right? Quality paints, use coral paint and stuff like that. They're very, very expensive because it's very dusty. So you want a paint that can hide the dust. Let me know if you have some questions too. You can throw in there and I can take it. So it's very, very painting. You do multiple, you do your Andrea and then you got to also sanding, and then paint. You do multiple paint coat, and sometimes you paint things 3 times, right? To have make sure it's penetrating into the walls and stuff like that. So and so you have that. Hi, Emmanuel. Thank you for joining us. So painting is not cheap. Then at a certain point you gotta do cabinet cabinet and all that stuff. I always say, listen, there's certain things that you can save money. You can save money on cabinet because chances are you're gonna save it. You can change the cabinet over time. You're not gonna have the same cabinet for like 15 years. It will be outdated. So don't put a lot of money in cabinet. You can just get something that's nice and then change it down a weaving closet and kind of stuff. You can play around. But when you come to consultation, we actually tell you where we think we should put our money and where you think you can get back. Roofing is roofing is someplace that the money should go, and so you can get a minimum about 20 years of guarantee that's going to work for you and stuff. So not just the material, so the quality of installation, right? Matters. So it's not cheap. Roofing is not cheap. Okay, unless you want to use the 1965 kind of like sheets stuff like that. Plumbing, another critical place. Please don't fight with the plumbers. Don't fight over 200 CDs because the next thing you know, you are living in a house 6 months and because somebody decided they're not happy about something and now your plumbing system is not working. So then how are you going to trace it? That is why it's very important to know your lines around the plumbing. So if something happens, you know where you can find it. Sometimes I've seen some plumbing that is no go, no go. Okay, you don't do it that way because something happens is very difficult to find. That's okay. Now let me see webinar. Thank you. If you let me put this thing here, you can go to our website. I think our next webinar will be the end of the month. Um, Visit Royal Consulting Solutions, see what we have to offer. We're still doing some land acquisition a little bit. The land acquisition is very important, but man, it takes a lot of our time. It's to make sure everything is right. It takes weeks and sometimes a month, and so we do that. But mainly the building is the most huge component and stuff like that. So check our website. Send questions if you have them. Okay, so let me take one more question. It says like what it's all depend on you as readiness to build cheaply or costly. Yes, yes, yes. But either way, it's still going to cost you at a certain point. So you can go cheaply and then you'll pay later. It's going to happen. It will happen. And that is just life. So the thing is that it's not a race, right? I would rather take myself another 2 to 3 years and build right than give my some time and say, okay, 3 years, rain or shine, I have to finish. Yes, I understand the urgency to finish because okay, there's inflation on materials and all that stuff. Great. But if this is the only house you ever built, um, it's better to just do it right. Because think about it, in the US and Europe and stuff like that, you have drywall. It's easy to just knock the drywall, cut the drywall, and reconnect plumbing, wire, electrical, and stuff like that. It's very easy. It's even easier to change the floor the wooden floors and that kind of stuff. You can do it. But we do concrete, man, concrete. So if something is embedded in the concrete and something happens, it becomes very, very difficult for you to remedy this stuff because sometimes you don't even know where this thing is whether it's an isolated thing and that kind of stuff. So I would say take your time and build right. And if that means you build something smaller, but end up being something great, I'll take over that over a big house which is like cheaply built. Okay. Stone clouding. I have to figure out what that is. When is the webinar? Okay. Webinar will be the end of the month. Um And so there's a couple of things though. There's a couple of things that we are doing. Um, we're also looking for new options, new technology, and stuff like that. But you also have to respect the test of time. Some things are reliable for centuries, and so you just don't throw it away because this is the new thing. The challenge, though, the reason I feel like this video became necessary, the challenge is this. Sometimes people obviously watch other content creators, and then maybe there's a diversion of thoughts, opinions, and that kind of stuff. So some are ignorant, some are deliberate. But the thing is this: the things a way to understand is that you have the power of the internet. You can research some of these stuff, right? You can research some of these stuff. Like for example, if you somebody building in a waterlogged area, you can research stuff how to deal with that. Um, and that kind of stuff. So, or even if somebody, even what I tell you, do your research and stuff. And so it's like you have to factor that in. And just because, and sometimes people do this, people will knock something down because they can't afford it. They can't afford the next thing, so they'll justify it. And I think this is disingenuous. If you can't afford it, there's no problem. Because building a house, man, if you don't pay attention, that thing can become like never ending thing, right? All your money is gonna be going in all the time. So there's certain times that you gotta slow down and say, okay, listen, I need to I need to really slow down and maybe take my time and do this thing than saying that. And people have stars like there's certain things that, like for example, I'll tell you this: Ram F is not my thing. It's not my thing. But when I visited the site and with my engineer, we figured that structurally the sound is very good. It has its benefit. The thing that I have is it is the thing about how is you don't need AC. I think the numbers though it's a little bit exaggerated because whether you want AC or not AC is very subjective. Some people, if you live in the cold, your tolerance to heat is different, right? So it is a little bit cheaper in terms of build whatever, but whether it is super so cool that you don't need AC, that is debatable. So I think when you're in the tropics, people have AC. You know, that's the way it is. So, but doesn't mean that I will say that it's an inferior build just because it's not my style and knock it. You have to go because I went and spent time, visited some, look at it, inspecting. So, okay, yes, it's not something I would do because aesthetically, it's not something I do. But structurally, it's really fun. And then because I like to be able to paint and do certain things, but it has its benefit. That's his benefit. And so that is why sometimes don't knock the thing you can afford. Say, okay, there's other options. Like if you see the Castle house, there's things that I didn't do. Like what did I didn't do? I didn't want to put money into a whole like design closet. I said no. And I'm glad I didn't, because six bedroom, four six bedrooms, three walking closet, three big walking closets. And at that time, you're pumping money into that. At a certain point, you just want to live in a house. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that by choice, not because not because wardrobes are terrible. They don't have any good one in Ghana. It's because I didn't want to put the money in there. Next build, I'm going all out, and so it's a difference thing. So sometimes you have to be careful how things are being marketed as cheap and as better. Not necessarily true. It's just so you got to read between the lines. Okay. Hi Tony. Are you polystyrene for decking or against it? What is the reason you got try to give back? Um, well, so decking. Now, a decking in a sense of weight bearing decking, something like a whole level. I'm running the numbers. I've seen it. I'm doing some, I've been running some numbers. And based on what I saw, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. I'm not going to use that as a decking. Now, if it's like a roofing thing like that, you're not putting weight on that, because I don't think um, it is strong enough to have a full load of furniture, bodies, and stuff like that to do based on what I've seen now. Could it be constructed with some strong tensile um, uh, polystyrene embedded? The benefit you're going to get is maybe modularization of the temperature. So basically, it acts as a barrier for the temperature. But in terms of load, I've seen the way they are doing it though. I've seen some other videos from other countries how they are doing. But this video in particular talking about that is not how they are doing it, because so if it's a roofing decking and then nobody's gonna be out there putting weight, you still have to make sure water is not getting in, that kind of stuff. So, but for decking, like you are trying going to put like blocks and furniture and appliances and people and beds and stuff like that, I don't think strong enough to hold that. And I don't think that is what the other groups are used for. Okay. So you have to understand load and remember over time, things get weak over time. Okay, that is like things get strong over time. They get weak over time. Your body doesn't get strong over time. You get weak over time. So that is fair with most things in life. And so you have to look at those things. And so that is why I say you gotta, I don't care who it is, even when I tell you stuff, also research a little bit about it and understand it's your building. And so you must learn a few things about how things are being done, because yeah, trust me, man, some things are just catastrophic. And for me, I have a policy. I don't go to people's video. I watch people send me the video, I watch it, and then I go do my thing. I don't put negative comments. I don't put thumbs down. I've seen some stuff that are just outright dangerous though. And so if they're not coming after me, then I'm not going after that. But if something that we talk about behind the scenes and say this and stuff like that, then we have that conversation. So, but certain things are not just safe. They're not just safe. Just with a common sense on it, it's not. And I don't care. There's certain things if you give me for free, I'm still not gonna take it. Um, just because it's free. Okay. So ah, Print, you my boy. I'll give you the short version though. Okay. Thoughts on war is not central. Okay, so I'll give you okay, I'll answer this in like 1 minute. There's benefit. So when you have multiple unit AC, one goes down, you can occupy all the rooms, right? Because it's not centralized. So the centralized system ideally is going to be more expensive. Um, Now there's a ability to control them multiple rooms and that kind of stuff. But then if the system goes down, the whole thing goes down, right? And so the issue in the West, they're efficient because the power is stabilized. The power in Ghana is no joke. I mean, I have stuff destroyed all the time. And granted, I have a 20,000 watt transformer, which sometimes are able to arrest this current that is coming in. But every now and then, some slip and stuff happens, okay? Mostly like my lights. I went to a point of changing my lights, my wall lights every 2 months. So you have that. So I think um, now, if you can put a centralized AC on a solar panel, which is going to be that system alone costs you about 25, 30,000. Just putting that on the AC, all the AC unit on a solar panel It's going to easily cost you 20, 30,000, right? So I think that's a lot of money to just do that. So if it's tied to the of the grid to the solar panel, then I can say that you will have the reliability. But if it's connected to ECG, no man. Nope. All right, thanks, Emmanuel. So yeah. It's not safe. No, I agree. It's not safe. It's not personal, and that is why I feel like this video is important because there's all this so many diverging views, stuff like that. And people are eating it. You go to the comment section, people are eating it. Oh my God, this is the best thing between South Bend. They're gonna go over there, and the thing you don't understand when your building collapses in Ghana, you can't find the building. Trust me. And so, do it right. Do it right, man. Take your time. If it takes you 2 years, so be it. Do it right and have the life and enjoy this thing. It's going to be expensive if you want to build quality. You can't get quality with cheap. It does not exist because I have looked everywhere and I want great deals. But what I don't do, I have highly expertise guys on my team that when they come, I don't really negotiate a lot with the labor, even though it's high, because I know they're gonna give me tier one quality. So I just let them do their thing. So yeah, it poses for the buyer. It's a big problem. And so people get excited, right? People really get excited, and so I'm concerned about this because I want fairness. Fairness means if you pay for quality, you should get quality, and fairness in the sense of the information must be quality. Okay, don't treat your YouTube activities as a personality thing. Because sometimes Tony can be like a lecturer, but when we have fun, Tony be having some serious fun too. But when I come here, I feel like it's important. I got to deliver the message, so we have to make it serious because it's important. Then after that, we meet somewhere. We have a great time. Trust me, I got a blast. I had a great time. And so, but it is important. Now, I don't want a situation somebody go use them. This thing happens because they saw something on this thing. So for us, I feel like if I tell you to go use this thing, something happen, I feel like, there's some at least moral responsibility. So we try to make sure the information is right. So please, what's your website? You can see the website at the bottom of the link, scrolling down and stuff like that. Thank you. You can good. Thanks for posting the website here. And so it is going to be expensive because think about it. What are you going to do? I get roofing, plumbing, tiling, door installation, furniture, ceiling work, quality plastering, electrical, big deal in electrical door, big deal. Windows, landscaping. You don't want a window that somebody can just take a plier, poo poo, pop it, and open the next thing they cut in your burglar proof, yeah, right? And then you gotta do proper fence wall constructions. I probably left about half of the things that goes into building out because it is fair to go to our website and actually invest in the process of when you get a land. We give you from when you get a land, what do you need to do? What are you doing on the land? How are you surveying the land? How are you validating that this land is not in some kind of crazy? Then you get the stuff. And then when you go to the land before you build, what are you looking at? What does site preparation look like? So we have that and everything from when you're building all the way to when you're moving. And it's in sequence and cheap for $50, right? Bad date, you spend more than $50. So get that and you can get a sequence of and follow it. Okay. We put this together, about six of us, that we put this together. Put all the plumbers, the electricians, the engineers. We sit and say, listen, when you build in Ghana, it's very, very wasteful because everybody is doing their own thing. How can we maximize building in Ghana? And so we sat down for, it took us about, 3 months, 3 months to eventually, uh, you know, get it, get the sequence right. And so just use them, just use them. It also, I just posted it here. It also helps you, uh, kind of like be a project manager, because your builder, sometimes you are going to forget things, right? Because it's a lot, you know, it's a lot. And sometimes when you forget things, because even on the PDF guidelines, what we have is at certain point, you start thinking about certain discussions because it's going to affect the next project. So you don't want to always get to the next thing. That is why you are making decisions. So before you do your ceiling work, you already start with your building. You're probably going to know what are you doing drop ceiling, what are you doing POP, what are you doing dry, whatever. You start thinking about that and how that is going to impact where you're going to put a fan, where you're going to put a lighting system. It's a lot in there, right? And you can't always remember because you are busy and you have something. So get that. Okay, get that, please. Yes, yes, the materials and also materials and also installation. So there's the two components, because sometimes, um the thing I like about my team is, I always say this: the expertise are there, but the thing is the ethics. The ethics is very, very important to me. There are quality builders in Ghana, but the ethics, sometimes they do something that is very dishonest. So so I like that. I like that aspect. And trust me, I am very anal, nitpicking stuff, and I want your build to be exactly like mine or better in terms of execution. So the measurement must fit in. Um, um, so a lot of discussion should be happening. It must be efficient. It's a lot of money. So I respect that. I work hard for my money, so I know you do. So you want to make sure it's done right. Yeah, peace of mind. Yep, peace of mind is peace of mind. And so it's a lot. Okay. So is it cheap to be in Africa? If you want some crappy stuff, hell yeah. If you want something that's not going to work, it's going to be questionable, yeah, it's going to be cheap. Okay. If you want quality, it's not going to be cheap. Um, it's not going to be cheap. It's going to cost. But I think I would say go quality. So take another 2 years, whatever, and come up with the money and do it. And then after that, you can just enjoy the place. And because you don't want to start living in a house and start digging the ground because something's not working. So quality. And chances are your builder does not have all the expertise in all the areas of execution. But what some builders do is they try to make it up. So we don't even have expertise for all the areas. So the areas we don't have expertise, we go bring the guys who are there, and they come and we supervise the work. Now, so it's like, so I took this question, I removed it. So I didn't talk about the phases, right? I didn't talk about the phases of plumbing, the phases of electrical, for a reason, because those are in the guidelines. What you should be, what kind of plumbing you should be doing when you start foundation, right? And then, because it's three phases, then there's another point you do another plumbing, and then there's phase one, phase two, phase three. Same with electrical, phase one, phase two, phase three, and it's done that way for efficiency. It makes sense to put the pipes and build around it than to be cracking and putting the pipes in, right? So, so not just, you can't do all the plumbing in foundation. So you just do phase one plumbing, but then you have to factor even how you're gonna lay out. So these are some of the discussions, because remember too, distance, right? So distance from where your plumbing that connects to the house to the distance where you're gonna is gonna exit, uh, the material, whatever that is in that plumbing too. So for every inch, for every foot you go, there's a slope that you got to drop. right? So it's important. You don't want somebody you are flashing and it's backing up. You don't want that, right? So it's important. You know, the details matters. It's important how you lay it. And sometimes, what if it's far? What if your building plan, you know, we have a bathroom on the way on the other end, and then there's another bathroom on the other end, and then how do you connect these things? So it is there's a lot of discussions that goes on it on the ground, and that means on the ground sometimes you got to change something because the distance is way too long to get an efficient slope for things to flow, right? So is it cheap? No, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's expensive. Build well, it's expensive. It's not cheap. Okay, it's not cheap. Um, and I've seen some looks like people are getting good deals. They're not getting good deals. I know what I can watch, and it's funny. You know, I can watch your build. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on building, and then I give a comment, you know, good job, whatever, stuff like that. But I can tell, I can really tell when they're cutting corners. I can tell what they are doing, but I can't say anything. It's not my place. And so, and so, if he looks like you're getting a good deal because the expert guys, you can't. They will not. They'll walk away. They will not take those jobs. They are very adamant. They will not take those jobs. You either gonna pay them or they walk. And so, but there's a way you do it so you get efficient. There's a way you pay, but you know you still get a little bit more. So about the relationships and all kinds of stuff, and making sure that these guys, you know, that build is not over their head. Right, a lot of people, the building is over there. They used to building a Ghanaian style. A lot of walls. Then you bring a plan. It's a little bit complicated. High ceiling, open. Like you know, my second build, the kitchen, living room, dining room is all open. Now it's difficult for them to execute. Then they start telling you, put a pillar here, put a pillar here, put a pillar here, because they don't know how to do it, and they can put pillars all over the place, and then it's like it doesn't look well, you know. So we are here. We can help you. We can't do all of them, but at least you know we can help you. And then at least you buy these some of the stuff we offer. You can go and run your project because we tell you everything. We even have like a. I don't think people have been bidding with a ceiling requirement. We have a ceiling requirement that we say, okay, this is where it needs to be. That's the minimum because we've thought about other things, right? And so, and then instead of having like, why have 400 windows? So you can consolidate it, and so there's a bunch of stuff, and even something simple like sometimes you get on a land you're about to build. On the plan, they say put a window here, but it's a bad idea because that side, the wind, you have good wind, so you put a window here, you can maximize air coming in and stuff. So these are simple decisions that people build. Just see the blueprint and say window, window. They just give you that, but sometimes, so do you think Ghanaian builders ever get to use a building? I don't think so. Because think about it. How many of the builders in Ghana actually have the certification? Most of them learn from on the job, right? On the job. Now, those people also offer a place. They have some value to that. But then you also want your technical guys who are doing it 20 years of building, you know, apartments, how involving hospital, doing like $100,000 electrical jobs and all those things. So you have those guys on your team. They've seen a lot of things. You know, they've built for some of the wealthiest people in Ghana. So when you have them, it's like I don't have to tell I want eight Y Z's. They just go and then they go and they deliver something. So the building codes. And sometimes the building codes are just codes. And sometimes, things evolve, things change. And so the code is lagging. So what we do, we bring the engineers in and we say, listen, this is the minimum building code, but we're going to exceed that. And so we're going to bump this so there'll be a little bit cost over there, but it's not make or break. We're going to bump it. If it says 12 millimeter, we're going to use 14 because we want it to be structurally sound. And so, and there's some builders, it's funny, they can't even read the blueprint, they can't read the blueprint. So there's the stuff in there. Okay. Other than that, so is it cheap to build in Ghana or Africa? For quality? No, it's not. Um, Anybody that's telling you that, I have a land to sell you in the Indian Ocean. Okay. So be use the brain to override your heart. So when you see something, whether it's from my channel or anybody else, and it doesn't feel right, do some research. Just do some research because usually your inclination will give you a lot of clue. And so don't, like I said, don't get caught up into the personality. Listen to the message. The message is more important than the personality. Uh, okay. So other than that, I hope this was helpful. Thank you again. Check out the channel Brabo Podcast, which we do. We discuss everything and stuff like that. And so, one thing I also want you to think about also too um, is believe in yourself, believe in your destiny, that you can change your financial future, right? Believe in that. You black doesn't mean poverty. Poverty is not synonymous with black. Okay, don't believe that. We should all be millionaires. It's easy to do. Okay, and we must look into the world. Yes, we don't run the world, but we can benefit if we are strategic in the world by what we do and how we spend our time. Okay, because at the end, some of us are getting a little bit older. You're working smarter, not harder. Okay, and so you have to be efficient, and you surround yourself people that are big thinkers, big dreamers, and those people are not easy to be around because they always want to do more, but that's what you need. So when you retire in style. You're not 65 years old with application trying to be a security guard. It's very heartbreaking to see that, right? So you can do it. Okay, nothing is impossible. Okay, you can do it, but be smart. Be really smart. And it's not how much you make, it's how much you get to keep and what you do with what you keep. Okay, so it's not how much. So if your job is paying 200,000, you are not making 200,000 after taxes, after you pay all your mortgage and everything. How much is left? That is how much you made. Okay, so you know, in 5 years, every 5 years, your life should upgrade. You should be in a different level mentally, financially, life. And if you're in the same, then maybe change your surrounding. Okay, change your surrounding. And so that is my thing that I want to give to you. So I don't believe in impossibility. I don't do anything in Ghana and I'm worried about the cost. Uh, if I know if I want to do it, then I'm gonna find ways and means legitimately and make it happen, even if it takes me time. So cost is always relative. If the dream is bigger, you will make it happen. Okay. So believe in yourself and surround yourself with winners who wants to do big things and just don't limit yourself. Life is so awesome and dope. And believe me, Tony be having great time. When I go to Ghana, I have great time. Okay? Trust me. And those will never be on YouTube because somebody will start spending his money instead of building his house and acquiring assets. and investing. So, okay. Other than that, thank you. I appreciate you. See you next weekend. And send me some topics that you want me to address and stuff like that. So be smart. Believe in yourself. You can do anything. If you can imagine it, you can make it happen. All right. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. All right.